Long ago, before the rise of modern cities, before electricity or engines, the world was quieter, but also more mysterious. The stars above seemed closer, and the land itself breathed with memory. In this ancient world, people lived not only by the rhythms of the sun and moon, but also by the rhythms of belief. They believed that the world was filled with unseen forces, both kind and cruel, that words could shape destiny, that simple objects could shield the soul, and so, through whispered blessings, feared curses, and worn amulets, they reached out into the unknown and listened back. Let's return to that world now, slowly, gently. Let your breath deepen. Let your thoughts settle like dust over ancient stone. You are standing in the fading light of early evening. The desert air is warm, but a cool breeze moves through the reeds that grow along a slow river. The sun is setting over ancient Egypt. A line of date palms stretches in silhouette against the golden sky. In the distance, the quiet hum of a lullaby drifts from a nearby home, a song sung for a child as stars begin to appear one by one. You step closer to a small mud brick house, low and rounded, its walls painted with simple symbols in red and black. A woman kneels by the doorway. In her hands, she holds a bundle of dried herbs tied with thread. She murmurs a soft prayer, then tucks the bundle above the door frame. It's not large, not grand, but it is sacred. It's meant to protect, not with force, but with presence. Inside, an oil lamp flickers. Hanging from a wooden peg is a blue stone, the color of river water, shaped like an eye, the eye of Horus. It is believed to watch even when no one else does, to guard dreams, to restore balance. This, to the ancient Egyptians, was Heka, not magic as we think of it today, but the sacred power that flowed through words, symbols, and actions. Heka was the energy that connected the world of the living to the divine. Every blessing carried a ripple of Heka. Every amulet was a knot of protective power, shaped by human hands and filled with memory. People did not separate the spiritual from the daily. They were one. A mother's touch was a ritual. A whispered wish before planting seeds was a spell. A scarab beetle carved from green stone, worn around the neck, was both ornament and shield. Let your thoughts drift now, following the slow bend of the river. Across the water, a scribe sits outside a small temple. The papyrus scroll before him is nearly full, ink drying under the fading light. On it are lines of prayers, each one written carefully, intentionally. These prayers will be rolled and placed into a small container, worn by someone in need of healing. Not because the words are perfect, but because they are spoken with care. This was the heart of ancient belief, intention. Not thunder or miracles, but quiet focus. A belief that kindness, devotion, and memory could shape reality. Now the sky has darkened. 1,000 stars twinkle above, and the moon begins to rise. Crickets begin to sing. Somewhere in the shadows, a priest begins his night watch at a temple dedicated to the goddess Isis. He walks slowly, his sandals brushing sand, holding a lamp and a string of beads. With each step, he whispers the same short blessing, over and over, not for himself, but for the world, for peace, for protection. His words echo through time. You are safe, they say. You are known. You are part of something older than fear. In the distance, a traveler reaches a small crossroads. He carries little, just a cloth bag and a wooden staff, but around his neck hangs a pendant gifted to him by his grandmother before he left home, a circle carved with a symbol of the sun, wrapped in leather and warm from his skin. He touches it gently before resting. He believes, as she did, that it will keep him safe as he sleeps beneath the open sky. All across the ancient world, this belief echoed that small objects imbued with meaning could hold back darkness, that the invisible could be invited to watch over us, not with fear, but with love. Let that love hold you now. You are lying in a soft bed. Around you, the air is still. A faint scent of herbs drifts through the room. Somewhere, a candle burns low. Your breath is slow, your body warm and relaxed. In your hand, you imagine a small amulet, its shape familiar, comforting. Perhaps it's a shell, a stone, a carved symbol from a time long gone. Whatever it is, it belongs to you now, and it watches while you rest. Let go. Let the stories of the past settle over you like soft linen. Let the quiet power of blessing and belief carry you across the sands of sleep. You are safe, you are protected, and the ancient world, though distant in time, still remembers. Sleep now in the glow of old magic, gentle, patient, and full of love. The night deepens. The sky has turned to velvet, sprinkled with stars that shimmer like old memories. The wind is light, almost shy, brushing across rooftops and temple stones. In this hour, when most of the ancient world sleeps, something stirs, not loud, not grand, but gentle, the quiet act of a blessing. In every culture, blessings were more than mere words. They were acts of intention, bridges between the earthly and the divine. To bless was to protect, to offer light where there was shadow, to say with the full heart, "Let this be well." Let us begin this part of the journey in ancient Mesopotamia, in the land between the rivers. A woman sits cross-legged outside her home, her hands holding a small bowl of oil and a reed brush. She dips the brush and draws a symbol above her doorway, a simple spiral blessed by a local priest. Her husband is away, and tonight she prays for safe return. The oil glistens in the lamplight, catching the eye of a passerby. He recognizes the symbol and nods silently, as if to say, "May your house be guarded." Such symbols were everywhere in the ancient world, not just decorations, but shields, carved into thresholds, etched into pottery, painted on children's cradles. They whispered protection, even when no one was speaking. Now travel with me to ancient Anatolia. It is spring. The hills are green, the fields dotted with wildflowers. A young girl gathers herbs at dawn, her grandmother beside her. With each plant, the old woman speaks its name, not just in words, but in tone, in reverence. She tells the girl which herb is for fever, which for troubled dreams, and which must never be picked without first offering thanks. They do not use the word magic, but that is what they are practicing, a form of sacred connection. Later, they return home. The girl hangs a bunch of dried lavender near her sleeping mat. Her grandmother places a small, woven charm beneath her pillow, knotted from red and white thread, meant to bring peaceful sleep. And when the girl dreams that night, she dreams of calm rivers and open skies. Blessings were not always spoken aloud. Sometimes they were sung as lullabies, as harvest songs, as soft chants repeated during chores. Sometimes they were acts of care, brushing dust from someone's shoulders, tying a ribbon around their wrist, offering the first bite of a meal. And sometimes they were silence, the pause before a journey, the look between two people who say nothing but understand everything. Let us now step into ancient Greece. In a small temple near the sea, a priest pours clear water onto a smooth stone. The sun is rising behind him. He murmurs a blessing, asking the gods to favor the fishermen heading out that morning. The water shines briefly, then disappears into the cracks of the stone. No one claps. No one announces what has been done. But the men who pass the temple on their way to their boats bow slightly, out of habit, out of respect, out of hope. Hope was the root of every blessing. It was not certainty people sought, but peace. The peace that comes from believing you are seen, even when you are small, that you are remembered, even when you are quiet. And so people blessed their homes, their tools, their journeys, their children. They carved words into the walls. They tied charms into their hair. They placed coins in sacred springs and whispered wishes into the dark. In many Jewish homes, even today, you will find a small scroll mounted near the doorway, a mezuzah. Inside is a verse from Deuteronomy, written by hand, declaring the unity of the divine and the importance of love. As people enter and leave, they touch the mezuzah, a quiet, personal blessing. This tradition has roots thousands of years deep, back to the ancient Israelites, back to tents in the wilderness and clay houses under desert stars. It is not about ritual alone. It is about remembering that blessings are living things, that they do not disappear after they are spoken. They stay, they linger, they wait, and they return. Now let yourself return to the present. You are lying in the quiet of your own space, a soft pillow beneath your head. Perhaps a candle still glows nearby. Perhaps the air smells faintly of something familiar, lavender, maybe, or sandalwood. Close your eyes. Imagine a blessing spoken just for you. It doesn't need to be in any ancient tongue. It might be as simple as, "May you rest, may you be held, may this night carry your fears away and return only peace. Feel it settle over you now, like a warm blanket, like soft light on your skin. You are not forgotten. You are part of a great chain of people who blessed, who hoped, who whispered protection into the dark. Sleep now under their watch, and let the ancient words, spoken long ago and carried on the wind, find their way to you again. The night is deep now. The stars above seem older, steadier. The world has fallen into a hush. And yet, in this calm, in this quiet, there is room for an older kind of story. Not one of comfort, but of caution. For just as the ancients believed in blessings, they also feared something darker, the curse, not as we imagine it in fairy tales, no cackling voices or thunderclaps. In the ancient world, curses were quiet, slow, invisible, and that was what made them so feared. So, let us begin in Mesopotamia. In the soft gloom of a clay-walled house, a family sits in silence. The eldest child has fallen sick, not from injury, not from plague, but with something no one can name. His eyes look distant. He speaks to things that are not there. His mother burns herbs in the corner, whispering prayers to the household gods. When no improvement comes, they summon an Ashipu, a kind of healer priest. He arrives before sunrise, carrying scrolls of chants and a small sack of clay figures. He listens, he studies the house, then he begins his ritual. He believes, as many did, that a curse may have entered this place, sent by a rival, a demon, or perhaps by accident, through careless words or broken custom. To remove it, the curse must be named, described, sung away. He lights a small fire. He crushes herbs. He buries a clay figurine beside the door, believing it will absorb the curse's poison. And then he recites an incantation, long and rhythmic, filled with the names of old gods and protective stars. No one speaks. No one interrupts. Curses, they believe, listen, and they do not like being noticed. Elsewhere in Egypt, curses took another form. Imagine a tomb, sealed for eternity. On its stone wall, beside the painted gods and golden offerings, is a line of words etched with care. Cursed be the one who moves these stones. Let their days be cut short. Let their name be forgotten. These were not empty threats. The Egyptians believed the dead had rights, peace, rest, dignity. To disturb them was to invite wrath, and so tomb curses were both warning and weapon. They protected memory. They guarded the veil between life and what lies beyond. In Greece and Rome, curses could be found folded into lead tablets, called katadesmoi, or defixiones. Small sheets, thin as bark, inscribed with a name and a wish. Sometimes rolled tightly, sometimes pierced with nails, then hidden in wells, graves, or sacred places. One might read, "Bind the tongue of he who lies against me." Another, "Let her forget the one she loves." Curses were not always for enemies. Sometimes they were born of heartbreak, of longing, of desperation. They were not about destruction, but control, a way to reclaim power when all else had failed. In ancient markets, people would sell small figurines for use in such rituals. A rival's name might be scratched into clay, then the figure broken, symbolically shattering their luck. These acts were done in secret, in silence, under moonlight. The fear of being cursed was so real that entire systems of protection were developed to guard against it. The most feared curse in many cultures, the evil eye. It wasn't always intentional. Sometimes, they believed, a person's jealousy or envy could escape through their gaze, like a thread of smoke that wrapped around your fortune and slowly unraveled it. A child admired too strongly might fall ill. A new bride envied by others might suffer misfortune. And so people fought this invisible danger with amulets, blue beads, painted eyes, silver hands. These charms were called apotropaic, meaning to turn away. Even the word "bless you" after a sneeze comes from this fear, a reflex from a time when people believed the soul might leave the body through the breath and a curse might slip in. But curses, for all their shadow, were never all-powerful. The ancients believed they could be undone with water, with fire, with herbs and salt and sacred words. A priest might bathe a person in river water, symbolically washing the curse away. A healer might burn a piece of parchment containing the name of a spirit, watching as smoke rose into the stars. And often, people placed their trust in one simple act, speaking the curse aloud, naming it, exposing it. because secrecy was the curse's greatest strength. Now let the weight of this knowledge settle gently. You are safe. You are in the realm of memory now, not danger. Let your breath steady. Let your thoughts drift back to that old Mesopotamian house where the mother hums to her child and the priest places the final offering beside the hearth. He speaks once more. Let this home be whole again. Let what entered now leave. Let peace return. And the wind shifts. The herbs stop burning. The house is quiet. No spell of thunder, no flash of light. But something has changed, not because the curse is broken, but because belief has been restored. And that, in the ancient world, was often enough. Let that be enough for you now. Close your eyes. Let any shadow slip away into the night. You are not cursed. You are watched over. You are held, not in fear, but in story, in memory, in light. Sleep now, and let the night carry you deeper into the gentle magic of the world. The night stretches on like a ribbon of deep indigo. Outside, the wind drifts through tall grass and distant trees. Inside, a flame flickers gently, casting soft shadows across stone walls. This is a time for quiet, for memory, for meaning shaped not in loud declarations, but in small, intentional acts. Let us now step into the heart of the ancient world's protection, the amulet. Not simply jewelry, not just decoration, but a vessel for belief, often worn close to the skin. Silent companions, made of shell or stone, bone or metal, each one carrying a purpose, a whisper of safety, a reminder that one was never entirely alone. Picture now a bustling market in ancient Babylon. The sun is low, casting warm golden light over rows of stalls. Spices scent the air, cinnamon, myrrh, dried petals. A merchant leans over a table lined with tiny objects, scarabs, beads, carved eyes, miniature idols. A woman pauses, her gaze resting on a simple pendant, a circle etched with tiny stars. "What is it for?" she asks. "For dreams," the merchant replies, "to keep the bad ones away." She nods, pays a silver coin, ties the charm to her belt, and so a piece of magic moves from one hand to another, not through ritual, but through trust. Across the world in ancient Egypt, amulets were everywhere. They were placed in tombs, sewn into clothes, offered to gods. The eye of Horus, painted in blues and golds, symbolized protection, healing, and royal power. It was not just seen, but believed in. Hung above cradles, carved into ships, etched on amulets that rested over hearts. Then there was the scarab, sacred symbol of the sun and rebirth, worn in life, buried in death. People believed the scarab helped the soul cross into the next world, like the sun rolling across the sky each day. In Greece, things looked different, but the intention was the same. Mothers tucked small tokens into their children's clothing, knots tied a certain way, beads made of amber or coral. Travelers carried pebbles from sacred springs. Soldiers wore wolf teeth or bits of iron, hung from cords around their necks. Even philosophers, deep in thought, carried charms, not for fear, but for balance, for alignment between the mind and the unknown. There is comfort in something you can hold, in something that says you are protected. Amulets were often made of special materials: silver for purity, gold for divinity, carnelian for courage, turquoise for protection. But it was not the material alone that gave it power. It was the care in how it was made, the intention spoken as it was tied or carved or shaped. In ancient Mesopotamia, clay figures were pressed into molds, tiny animals, spirits, or gods. They were placed above doors, beneath beds, beside the hearth, and sometimes tiny scrolls of written prayers were rolled tight and placed inside hollow amulets, worn around the neck, hidden from view. These scrolls might hold just one line: "Let no harm enter. Let the breath be steady. Let the journey end in peace." There's something quietly powerful about that. Not the object, but the message. Not the charm, but the thought behind it. In this moment, imagine your own amulet. You're in a quiet room, lit only by the soft glow of a lamp. You hold something small in your palm, a smooth stone, perhaps, or a carved piece of wood. It hums gently, though it makes no sound. You press it to your chest, and it feels like memory, like love, like a whisper that says, "Everything is okay now." All around the world, even in places untouched by writing or grand cities, people crafted these quiet guardians. In forests, at mountains, deserts. Among the Berber of North Africa, silver amulets were shaped with symbols passed down from elders. Among the Celts, knots of thread were tied during childbirth and harvest. In early Chinese traditions, jade was carved with characters for peace, prosperity, and long life, then tucked into robes or buried with the dead. Even animals wore them: horses with charms in their manes, cats with beads around their necks, cattle marked with symbols drawn in ash. And still, the magic was not loud. It was soft. It asked nothing. It waited patiently until the moment it was needed. Now picture a child preparing for sleep in an ancient home. Her mother tucks a cloth around her, places a small pendant beneath the pillow, and says softly, "This will keep the bad dreams away." The child closes her eyes, her hand resting lightly where the amulet lies hidden. This moment, this exact one, has happened countless times, across centuries, across continents, because we are not so different from them. We too carry objects for comfort: a ring, a necklace, a smooth pebble in a pocket, a note folded and kept in a wallet. They are our amulets, reminders of people we love, hopes we carry, peace we long for. Let this be your reminder now, that even in a vast world full of questions, there is always something to hold on to, something made with care, something shaped by love. So let your body grow still, let your thoughts quiet, and let the gentle weight of your imagined amulet bring you peace. You are safe now. You are watched over. You are part of a story older than time. Sleep, and let the night carry you like a charm through the world's oldest dream. The night deepens, and the world grows quieter. The air is cool, the stars glimmer high above, and a soft breeze carries the scent of dust and memory. You lie still, safe beneath the gaze of the ancient sky. And in this gentle silence, we turn now to something old and sacred: the blessing. A blessing is not a spell. It is not a command. It is not always loud or elaborate. A blessing is a hope, a wish, a moment of care made solid through words or touch, or even silence. Let your mind drift now to a simple village in the hills of ancient Anatolia. A mother stands at her doorway, holding her baby to her chest. Morning has just begun, and the sun rises slowly behind the distant trees. She says nothing at first, only rocks the child gently. Then, in a whisper no one else can hear, she says, "May your path be clear. May your breath be steady. May your sleep be deep, and your waking soft." That is a blessing, and though no one else hears it, the words stay. They settle into the fabric of the day, carried by the wind, absorbed by the earth. In the ancient world, blessings were everywhere, not just in temples or sacred texts, but in kitchens and fields, cradles and crossroads. To bless someone was to hold a hope for them, not just for survival, but for peace, for joy, for balance. In Egypt, blessings were often spoken with incense, the smoke rising gently toward the gods. A priestess might lift her hands and say, "May the gods walk beside you. May Ma'at guide your steps. May your name live on in light." These words were not casual. They were crafted with care, shaped by centuries of tradition. They were sung into the air, etched into tomb walls, whispered into linens wrapped around newborns. In Greece, blessings took the shape of poetry. A guest might be welcomed with a bowl of water poured on the ground, an offering to the household gods, and words like, "May your stay be peaceful and your leaving joyful." Blessings were given to warriors before battle, to lovers before marriage, to farmers before the harvest, and always they were shaped by belief. In Mesopotamia, a blessing might be written on a small clay tablet and placed in a home's foundation. Simple lines like, "May this house know only peace. May those who dwell here be safe from harm." Some blessings were burned in sacred fires, others buried with offerings. But all of them shared one thing: intention. To speak a blessing was to make a choice, to take the uncertainty of the world and answer it with kindness. Now picture a traveler pausing beside a tree wrapped with colored cloth, each ribbon tied there by someone who passed, leaving behind a hope for health, for love, for safe return. The fabric flutters gently in the breeze, a soft tapestry of human longing. This too is a blessing, not in words, but in gesture. Even silence could be a blessing. A hand on the shoulder, a gaze held just a moment longer, a quiet nod in parting. Because blessings didn't need to be spoken to be real, and they weren't just for people. Bread was blessed before being shared, water before being poured, homes before being entered. Even animals received blessings before long journeys, during illness, or simply as part of daily care. In the highlands, shepherds might trace protective signs on stones or whisper blessings to the wind. In Celtic lands, people left offerings beside sacred wells, coins, herbs, or bits of cloth, hoping the water would carry their wish. In every case, the act of blessing transformed the ordinary into something sacred. A cup became more than a vessel. A word became more than sound. A moment became more than time. Let yourself feel that now. Breathe slowly. Imagine someone blessing you, not with ceremony or spectacle, but with quiet certainty. May your heart be calm. May your dreams be kind. May you rise in peace. Let those words wrap around you like a warm shawl. Let them sink into your bones. Even today, we carry remnants of this ancient magic. A parent kissing a child's forehead before bed. A friend saying, "Take care." A stranger wishing you well. These are blessings, old as firelight, soft as wind, and when you say them or receive them, you become part of something greater, a tradition of care, a chain of hope, a line of light stretching across centuries. You may not hear ancient chants anymore. You may not carry amulets of turquoise or gold. But if you've ever hoped someone would be safe, if you've ever said, "I love you," and meant it like a prayer, then you too have given a blessing. Let that comfort you now. Let your breath settle. Let the weight of the day fall away. Because tonight, the blessings are all around you, in memory, in story, in air. You are wrapped in care, and you are not alone. The night is full now. The stars above blink softly, like the slow breathing of the sky. The wind has settled into a hush, and even the trees seem to listen. In this stillness, we arrive at the end of our journey, not with answers, but with quiet understanding. Let us walk, slowly, through the final doorway of memory. There is no temple here, no stone walls, no firelit chamber. Only you, only the soft echo of all that came before, the blessings, the curses, the whispers wrapped in cloth, the ancient names spoken into the dark. And at the center of it all, something very small, an amulet. Perhaps it is made of stone, or bone, or glass. Perhaps it's carved into a shape you recognize, an eye, a star, a circle, or perhaps it is smooth and featureless, its meaning carried not by what it looks like, but by how it feels in your hand. It is warm, and light, and familiar. This amulet is yours, not because someone gave it to you, but because you've always carried it in some way, in memory, in feeling, in quiet hope. Long ago, people tied such things around the necks of children. They buried them beside their loved ones. They wore them into battle or clutched them before sleep. But they were never about the object itself. They were about belief, about love, about the simple idea that something, even something small, could protect what matters most. In ancient Egypt, a scarab beetle was pressed into soft stone and worn for rebirth. In Mesopotamia, a lion was carved from shell and given to a child for courage. In Anatolia, a knot was tied just so, to keep harm away. In Greece, an eye was painted in blue to reflect envy back to its source. And in all these places, people dreamed the same dream, that something could watch over them when they could not, that they could hold safety in their hands, that protection was possible not through strength, but through care. So tonight, as you rest, imagine your amulet, not of gold or jade, but of memory, a whisper made solid, a hope made small enough to carry. Let it rest beside your heart now. Feel its quiet pulse, not beating like a drum, but steady like a breath. It doesn't glow, it doesn't sing, but it knows you, and it stays. Outside, the world turns slowly. The constellations shift just slightly. Somewhere across the hills and seas of the old world, another traveler lights a small lamp, places a token in their pocket, and steps into the unknown. You are not alone in this tradition. You are not the first to believe in what cannot be seen, not the first to reach for protection in the dark, not the first to find comfort in the idea that someone, somewhere, once whispered a blessing meant just for you. So let that amulet speak now, not in words, but in presence. It tells you, you are protected, you are remembered, you are part of a long, silent story, one that began long before you were born and will continue long after, written not in books, but in breath and gesture and care. Somewhere, a woman pours water into the ground and says thank you. Somewhere, a man ties a red string around his daughter's wrist. Somewhere, a child whispers to a stone beneath their pillow. And somewhere, you lie in stillness, carrying everything they carried: love, fear, hope, memory, all held in a shape the world might overlook, but your heart never forgets. This is the true magic, not spells, not flames, but the simple decision to love across distance, to care across time, to speak softly into the unknown. Be safe, so let your body soften, let your thoughts float, let your breath rise and fall like the wind over forgotten fields. The world is quieter now, the stories are complete, and your amulet, whatever shape it takes, rests against your chest. It hums softly with the warmth of centuries, not loud, not bright, just steady. Sleep now. You are safe beneath the stars. You are wrapped in all the care that ever was. You are loved across time, and the amulet, your amulet, will watch through the night until morning comes.